If you were arrested for domestic violence, one of the things that the cops may have told you throughout the course of their investigation and the arrest is this is not something to worry about. Don't worry, the case is going to get dropped. It's not going to be a big deal. And so you may be wondering, well, is that true? In this video, I'm going to be going through 5 questions to ask yourself about your case to use sort of as a test to figure out if the cops were right and this is something that you really shouldn't worry about. My name is Veronica. I'm a domestic violence defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. I'm also the creator of a course called Defeat the DVRO, in which I teach you from start to finish everything you need to know to win a domestic violence restraining order hearing in court. So if that is something that you are interested in, you can get your free first class in the course via the link in the description box down below. Okay, so let's jump right in. Cops told you, don't worry about this. The whole thing is going to get dropped. It's not a big deal. Let's go through 5 questions to ask yourself about your case to see if they are right. Number 1, did the cops arrest you for a felony or for a misdemeanor? In the state of California, when the cops come out and they make a domestic violence arrest, that is one of the things that they have to determine. Do they want this to be a felony or a misdemeanor? So if they booked you for a felony and it's PC 273.5A, usually corporal injury to a spouse or cohabitant, that is a serious charge. You face up to 4 years in prison and becoming a felon if you are convicted of that. The other option is that the cops can arrest you for misdemeanor 273.5A. So it is the same allegations, but the cops are sort of giving you a break and booking you for a misdemeanor. They could have also booked you for 243E1, which is domestic battery. Now, the cops had an option here, right? They could have cut you a break by making the same charge a misdemeanor or just booking you for the misdemeanor domestic battery, and they chose felony. Number 2, how much was your bail? Was your bail $50,000? That means if you paid 10%, you paid $5,000. Or was it something lower, like $20,000 to $30,000? If it was in that higher range, which usually it will be for a felony, if it was $50,000, again, this is something where if the cops wanted to, they could have booked you for a misdemeanor, which comes with lower bail, and they chose to go with the felony, knowing that you would have to pay $5,000 that you will never get back versus $2,000 to $3,000. Number 3, from what you've seen so far, was anything that the cops told you not true? So I watch a body-worn video all the time. This is the video of you getting arrested, and I hear cops tell people all kinds of crazy things, like telling people that your bail will only be 1% and they would only have to post $500, for example. Or, hey, you'll probably get OR'd. Or, hey, this will get thrown out in front of the judge, don't worry. What they're not telling you is if it's Friday, you wouldn't go in front of the judge until Monday in that case at the earliest. So in the meantime, you are in LA, maybe in men's central jail, horrible place to be, just waiting. Or maybe they told you, hey, you're going to post bail, you'll get out in an hour or 2, no problem. And in reality, it probably took a lot longer than that if you are in Los Angeles, right? Why would the cops lie to you about this? Look, the cops want their night, their shift to go smoothly, right? They want to make the arrest smooth. They don't want you to freak out and resist. So if they can make you, while they're handcuffing you, while they are booking you until you get into that jail cell, if they're making you think, hey, this is all going to be okay, it's going to be smooth sailing, nothing to worry about here, then they've eliminated you resisting arrest, attacking them, messing up their car, all kinds of things that are going to cause them to have to do more paperwork and, screw up their night or their day. And look, when the cops are telling you, hey, this is no big deal, while at the same time booking you for a felony, and they could have made it a misdemeanor if they actually wanted to cut you a break, or if they wanted it to not be a big deal, when they're telling you it's not a big deal, they're probably doing that at least partially so that they can have a smooth night. So you think, okay, this isn't a big deal. I'll just go in, get out. It's going to be fine. Number 4, did the cops hear your side and then still arrest you? Look, no matter what they say, they didn't have to arrest you specifically. They could have arrested the other person, but they heard both sides and they used their discretion to arrest you. It's not true that they always have to arrest the man. It's not. So unless when you talk to them, you confess to committing domestic violence, they had discretion about whether or not to believe you. This is especially true if they told you, hey, it's no big deal, just tell me what happened, just chill out, tell me your side of the story. If you explained to them what happened and they still didn't believe you, they were never going to believe you probably, right? They were just going to jump to a conclusion and arrest you. And if they didn't believe you, why would you believe them? Number 5, they asked you questions after they arrested you. whether or not they read you your rights. What they are doing there is they are collecting evidence against you. And yes, it's true, if you were already arrested, they sit you down in an interrogation room and they ask you questions. Unless they read you your rights, unless they Mirandized you, then they're probably not going to be able to use that in court. But that is still going to go into the police report. And you know who will use that against you when making a decision as to whether or not to drop your charges before a court so it is no big deal? The DA. And so they are looking for more evidence on you. That's the only reason, once you've been arrested, for them to ask you more questions, because they are collecting evidence. And they don't have to. And when they are asking you questions there, they're definitely not trying to cut you a break. Now look, if you said yes to any of these questions, if you were booked as a felony, if your bail was $50,000 or more, if you've already caught the cop telling you a lie, if you told your side and they arrested you anyway, or if they asked you questions after they arrested you, then you cannot believe the cops, okay? You can't believe anything that they said. And the problem with believing that this isn't something that you have to worry about is that before your first court date, you have a chance to get the case dropped. And it's not true that you just have to sit back and see what they do. What I do as a domestic violence defense attorney, if someone calls me before court, is I contact the DA. I explain my client's side. I tell them all the good things about my client, especially if it was their first time ever being arrested. I include letters of recommendation, and I do everything possible to try to get them to drop the charges. Not every case is going to get filed by the DA. However, if you miss that chance, and you just wait for your first court date and you show up and they have already filed charges, it is going to be much, much, much more difficult to get the case dropped. Potentially impossible, depending on the evidence that exists against you. At least impossible without going to jury trial. And you will have missed that chance when they're just looking at these cases, deciding, should we give this guy the benefit of the doubt? Should we give him another shot, or should we file it? You've missed that chance to tell your side of the story, all because the cops just wanted to have a smooth night. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have a domestic violence case in California, give me a call. You can find my number down below. And if you have a restraining order case, you're thinking of representing yourself, remember, you can represent yourself and win, but you have to have the right tools, which is what I give you in the course. So make sure you get your free first class via the link in the description box down below. And if you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.